Welcome to this live breaking explainer. I'm your host, and right now we're tracking an unfolding split-second digital connection event. It's a situation that plays out literally millions of times a day across the globe, yet it rarely gets the deep dive analysis it deserves. We are currently monitoring a live digital checkpoint, the invisible front line of our modern internet infrastructure. Our incoming data shows a user attempting to make contact with a major server, and we're going to break down exactly what happens in those critical milliseconds between a click and a connection. This is the anatomy of a digital gateway. We've actually just received our first piece of direct communication from the gateway protocol. The directive is incredibly simple, but man, is it firm. Just a moment. Let's deliberately slow down for a second and look at what's actually happening here. We're facing a mandatory pause at the gate. In an era where we absolutely expect instantaneous digital gratification, this three-word message acts as an absolute stop sign. The system is telling the incoming request to hold its position. Now, it's not a rejection, but it's fundamentally not an acceptance either. We're basically in the digital equivalent of a waiting room. Okay, let's dive into this timeline and map out the exact micro-journey of this event. What feels like a brief blink to us humans is actually a highly orchestrated sequence of events happening in mere milliseconds. At millisecond 1, we have that initial hold, the wait command we just talked about. By millisecond 3, completely behind the scenes, a rapid-fire verification process is attempting to happen. It's quietly filtering out bots and mitigating threats before they ever even reach the network core. At millisecond 5, if cleared, we await the target server's response. And finally, by millisecond 6, continuation. We're currently tracking this live progression, watching to see if the connection can successfully navigate each of these incredibly tight checkpoints.
Breaking update, achieving security clearance.
Okay, this just crossed our desk. Verification successful. This is exactly the confirmation we were looking for. The initial security hurdle has officially been cleared. The automated systems have analyzed the incoming request, kind of like vetting a digital signature, so to speak, and they've determined that it is safe to proceed. It's a massive green light from the frontline sentinels. However, as we're about to see, clearing security doesn't instantly equal touching down at the final destination.
Stage 2, the holding pattern.
Now, what's really interesting about this intel is exactly who we're waiting for. The data specifically names the target, OpenAI.com. This is our destination server. So the delay is no longer about whether the user is allowed to enter, right? It's entirely dependent on OpenAI.com's infrastructure responding to the knock at the door. We are in a state of absolute dependency on the destination servers waking up, acknowledging the verified request, and opening that final channel. Let's look at the stark contrast we're currently tracking to really understand this digital limbo. On the user end, it's a total triumph. Verification successful. The user has done everything right, passed the test with flying colors. But on the server end, the status remains waiting to respond. It brilliantly captures the two-way street of network requests. You can have your passport stamped and be totally ready to board, but if the plane isn't at the gate yet, well, you're still waiting. Actionable intelligence. Required configurations. So the crucial point is right here in these two mandated steps. Step 1, enable JavaScript. Step 2, enable cookies. We are neutrally reporting the absolute browser configurations necessary to cross this final threshold. The incoming intel is totally explicit. The gateway requires the client's browser to possess the ability to execute JavaScript and to store and transmit cookies. Without taking any stance on web tracking or browser scripting, we just impartially report that, from a strictly operational standpoint, these are the hard-coded keys you need to unlock the gate. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute binary nature of this checkpoint. Let's re-examine this exact same data one more time to ensure we fully grasp the gravity of it. These are not suggestions, folks. These are continuation mandates. JavaScript must be enabled. Cookies must be enabled. The system literally requires active, dynamic participation from your browser. If your settings block either of these functions, your verification successful status means absolutely nothing. You'll just remain stuck at the gate indefinitely. Which brings us to the ultimate question as we wrap up this live news brief. We just tracked a journey that happens in a fraction of a second, yet it involves holds, verifications, server delays, and strict browser mandates. It leaves us pondering a pretty fascinating reality. In an instant digital world, are we truly ever done waiting? Or have we just cleverly hidden our wait times inside the invisible, highly complex security checkpoints of the modern internet? Definitely something to think about the next time you see those three little words, just a moment. Keep your browsers configured and stay curious.